Welcome back guys. In this video I'll be showing you how to use DLSS for Upscaler in conjunction with FSR version 3.1.3 frame generation in A Plague Tale Requiem, Palworld and Dead Island Part 2. We'll be testing these games on my Windows PC that has a Ryzen 5700X 3D processor and an RTX 2070 Super GPU. I'll be using NightX free Optiscaler Mod to enable FSR frame generation in these games. The guide will work on any PC that has an RTX GPU. I'll kick things off with the PC Gamepass version of A Plague Tale Requiem. This game supports DLSS frame generation, but Nukem 9's mod does not work properly with it. The HUD elements flicker. Before jumping into the guide, I would like to thank Keymailer and Xbox for providing me with a free monthly subscription of PC Gamepass. This subscription gives us access to hundreds of games. We can play these games for as long as we want until our subscription expires. Games from first-party Microsoft Studio and even third-party studios are included with Game Pass. Even EA Play membership is included. We also get a small discount on some games being sold on Microsoft Store. In India, Microsoft even supports UPI mode of payment. I'll just show you the mod setup process. I'll keep the gameplays very short, otherwise the video will become very long and you know how YouTube algorithm is. Okay, I'll be using the latest nightly build of Optiscaler. You can download it from Optiscaler Setup. We'll give the link in the description. Expand asset section. Click on the .7z link here. This is the build that I'll be using 0.7.7 preview 7 2025-0212. Plague Tale Requiem comes with DLSS Upscaler version 2.4 and auto exposure setting is disabled by default. So I'll be manually updating DLSS Upscaler. Download the latest version from Tech Power Up's website. At the time of recording this video, the latest version of the Upscaler is 310.2.1.0 that uses the model preset K. Click on download here. Click on any of these servers, the download will start. In order to verify the details of the Upscaler like its version and model preset, I'll be using DLSS Debug overlay. In order to enable this overlay, I'll run this registry code provided by emus. Just copy these lines. Create a new text file anywhere on your PC. Name it anything you want. I'll just name it overlay. Change its extension from .txt to .reg. Hit enter yes. Select right click, open with notepad. Paste the lines here. Click on file, click on save, close, execute this registry file. This will enable the debug overlay. If you want to disable it, just replace the number 4 with 0. Click on file, click on save, close, run this registry file. I'll revert the change as I want to enable the overlay. Right click, open, yes, okay, that's it. Now I'll install Optiscaler Mod. Open the mod's archive file. Just copy the highlighted files. 4 of them. Copy. Need to paste them in the games install directory. Open Xbox PC app. Click on library. Select the game. Click on the 3 dots here. Click on manage. Click on files. Click on browse. Game size is around 50 GB. Open the games install folder. Open content folder. Paste the mod files here. Change the name of nvngx.dll file to dxgi.dll. Now I'll manually update DLSS Upscaler. Open the Upscaler's archive file. Copy this DLL file. Just need to paste it in the games install directory. Open the games install folder, content folder. Right click, paste. Replace the older version of DLSS Upscaler with the newer version. Check the version. All good. Make sure hardware accelerated GPU scheduling setting is enabled. This is not a mandatory requirement for Optiscaler, but if you have an RTX GPU, you should enable this setting. Right click and if you're on the desktop, click on display settings, click on graphics, click on advanced graphics settings, enable hardware accelerated GPU scheduling setting from here. If your monitor supports VRR, enable the setting as well. Now I'll enable VSYNC from NVIDIA control panel. Click on manage 3D settings, click on program settings. From this drop down bar, select A Plague Tale Requiem. It's not showing up here. Just click on add here. It should be here somewhere. A Plague Tale, there it is. Scroll down to the end, enable VSYNC from here. My monitor is G-Sync compatible. I'll enable the corresponding settings. Click on Setup G-Sync. Enable the following settings. Enable G-Sync compatible. Enable for full screen mode. Enable settings for the selected display model. I'll also enable G-Sync indicator. Click on display here. Check the setting G-Sync compatible indicator. Playtel Requiem supports NVIDIA Reflex. I'll just enable it from the in-game settings. Just to be clear, Reflex is not compatible with FSR frame generation. It won't help much in cutting down the additional latency caused by FSR frame generation, but Reflex combined with VSYNC will cap the FPS at a value slightly lower than our display's max refresh rate. It's not recommended to use a third-party overlay like Afterburner or RTSS when using Optiscaler's FSR frame generation. I'll use NVIDIA's overlay. Start the game. In-game settings, display mode set to full screen, Full HD resolution, DLSS Upscaler enabled using its quality preset, DLSS frame generation only available on RTX 40 series GPUs. Okay, I don't have access to Reflex low latency, was not expecting this. Chromatic aberration disabled, number of rats and NPC refresh rate set to normal, ultra settings here, motion blur disabled, depth of field disabled as well, low, ray tracing off. Where in the menu you can see the debug overlay in the bottom left corner. Render preset used is C. We will be changing it to K. Version of the upscaler 310.2.1 latest version. Base resolution 720p upscale to full HD. Auto exposure setting off. Open Optiscaler menu by pressing the insert keyboard key. From this drop down bar we can select the upscaler. Make sure DLSS is selected. Version is shown here. Frame generation disabled for the time being. And just check the setting render presets override under DLSS settings. Click on the drop down bar next to override preset and from here select preset K. It corresponds to DLSS transformer model. Now click on apply changes. Now check the debug overlay. Yeah, render preset change to K. Enable auto exposure setting from here. Check the debug overlay. Auto exposure setting is on now. Save INI. Close. First I'll run the game without frame generation. If after enabling FSR frame generation, the game's FPS exceed your display's max refresh rate value, just enable low latency mode setting from NVIDIA control panel and set it to Ultra. Game has started. Here FPS is within a range of 60 to 65. Hitting the GPU bottleneck. This game is very heavy on the GPU. Just hiding from these guys. They are on a rampage killing people. 57 FPS here. Okay, now I'll enable frame generation. Open Optiscaler. Check the setting FG active. Check the setting FG hotfix. Set the limit value to 1. Don't enable FG extended setting. Check this setting as well. FG allow async. Allows for better FG performance. Might cause crashes, especially with hotfix. So if you experience any crashing issue, disable this setting. Show you the debug view. Displays are working properly for all of the images. No HUD elements are visible in the bottom middle image except for the DLSS debug overlay. Just ignore it. It will flicker after enabling Optiscaler frame generation. Disable the debug overlay after verifying the upscaler's detail. The color palette is exactly the same for the bottom middle and bottom right images. So everything is working properly. And just disable the debug overlay and play the game. Yeah, I can observe the added amount of smoothness. FPS increased to around 100 to 110. HUD elements are not flickering. Even the subtitles are not flickering. Check out the GPU utilization, 100%. So smooth, like butter. Okay, I need to distract this guy to get past him. Equip a rock. Throw it here on that crate. Now's my chance. So good performance in this game using Optiscaler FSR Frame Generation. Now I'll be testing the next one. Now I'll be running the Steam version of Palworld. This game supports both DirectX 11 and 12 APIs, but in order to use Optiscaler FSR Frame Generation, we need to run the game in DirectX 12 mode. So in order to do that, just select the game in your Steam library, click on the settings cog here, click on properties, click on general. Under launch options, just add this line of text -dx12. That's it. Now the game will be running in DirectX 12 mode. This game comes with DLSS Upscaler version 3.1. I'll manually update it to version 310.2.1. Out of the box, DLSS auto exposure setting is disabled, so I'll be using Optiscaler Mod to enable FSR frame generation and auto exposure setting. First, I'll show you Optiscaler Setup. Open the mod's archive file, copy the highlighted files, 4 of them. Select the game in your Steam library, right click, manage, browse local files, open PAL folder, open binaries folder, open Win64 folder, paste the mod files here. Change the name of nvngx.dll file to dxgi.dll. Now I'll manually update DLSS Upscaler. Open the Upscaler's archive file, copy this DLL file, open the game's install directory, open PAL folder, open plugins folder, open DLSS folder, open binaries folder, open third party folder, open Win64 folder, paste the DLL file here. Check the version now, 310.2.1.0. This game does not support NVIDIA Reflex. I'll enable VSYNC and LLM from NVIDIA control panel. Click on Manage 3D Settings, click on Program Settings. From this drop down bar, select Palworld. Scroll down until you find low latency mode. Just set it to Ultra. Just to be clear, LLM won't be very effective in cutting down the additional latency caused by FSR frame generation. LLM Ultra combined with NVIDIA control panel VSYNC will cap the FPS at a value slightly lower than our display's max refresh rate value. Scroll down to the end, enable VSYNC from here, apply the changes, start the game. Again, I'll be using NVIDIA's performance overlay to show you the performance metrics, not using Afterburner or RTSS. This game supports DLSS Upscaler, but it does not support any frame generation technique. Yes, you heard it right. In-game graphics settings, screen mode set to full screen, resolution set to full HD, VSYNC and motion blur disabled. I'm using the Epic graphics settings. DLSS enabled, using its quality preset. Open Optiscaler Mod menu by pressing the insert keyboard key. From this drop down bar, select DLSS Upscaler. You can check its version here. Frame generation disabled for the time being. Enable auto exposure setting. Save INI. Start the game. Check out the debug overlay in the bottom left corner. Yeah, my character's health bar is blocking it, but I can see the render preset. It's K version of the upscaler. Base resolution almost 720p upscale to full HD. Auto exposure setting is on. Working very hard in the cam, as you can see. FPS is close to 80. I'll summon a pal. Nightwing. I can mount it, fly around. So cool. Okay, now I'll enable FSR frame generation. Look at that open world. Open Optiscaler. Enable FG active. Check FG active setting. Check FG hotfix setting. Set the limit value to 1. Don't enable FG extended setting. Check FG allow async setting. Show you the debug view. Yeah, in the bottom middle image, no HUD elements are visible. So HUD elements should not flicker when we enable Optiscaler FSR frame generation. Displays are working properly for all of the images. The color palette is exactly the same for the bottom middle and bottom right images. So everything should be working properly. Close the debug view. Save INI. Back to the game. Yeah, FPS increased to around 120. Can observe the added amount of smoothness. No HUD elements are flickering. Only the debug overlay is flickering as expected. It's not a part of the game's interface. Oh my god, look at that creature. Memorized. Good thing it's not hostile. It's going towards my camp. And just disable the debug overlay after verifying the details. And just leave my campsite, engage in combat. This game uses Unreal Engine. Can be a few traversal stutters. The longer you play the game, the smoother it becomes. It's as simple as that. Now I'll be testing the next game. Now I'll be running the PC Gamepass version of Dead Island 2. This game does not support any frame generation technique. It does not even support DLSS Upscaler. Yes, you heard it right. So I'll be using Callisto Protocol's FSR Bridge mod to replace FSR Upscaler with DLSS Upscaler. Then we will be able to activate Optiscaler mod. You can download FSR Bridge mod for absolutely free from Nexus Mods. Just need to have a free Nexus Mods account in order to download any stuff from here. We'll give the link in the description. Just click on Files here. Click on Manual Download. Download the latest version. Click on Slow Download here. First I'll install the FSR Bridge mod. Open its archive file. Select all the files present inside this archive file. Copy. Need to paste them in the game's install directory. Open Xbox PC app. Go to My Library. Select the game. Click on the three dots here. Click on Manage. Click on Files. Click on Browse. Open the game's install directory. Open Content folder. Paste the files here. Now you need to run enable NVIDIA SIG override.registry file. To revert its changes, just run disable NVIDIA SIG override file. Yes, okay. It comes with DLSS Upscaler version 3.6. I'll manually update it to 310.2.1. Open the Upscaler's archive file that you downloaded earlier. Copy this DLL file. Paste it in the game's install directory where you install FSR Bridge mod. Right here. Replace the file. Now I'll install Optiscaler mod. Open Optiscaler's archive file. Copy the highlighted files. Go back. Paste. Change the name of nvngx.dll file to dxgi.dll. Copy the extracted files, 4 of them. Paste them in the same directory where you install FSR Bridge mod. Right here. I'll enable VSYNC and LLM from NVIDIA control panel. Click on Manage 3D Settings, Program Settings, click on Add. Scroll down until you find Dead Island 2. There it is. Scroll down until you find LLM, set it to Ultra. Scroll down to the end, enable VSYNC from here. That's it. Launch the game. We'll be using NVIDIA's performance overlay to show you the performance metrics, not using RTSS or Afterburner. In-game settings, Full HD resolution, display mode full screen, in-game VSYNC disable, motion blur disable, advanced setting. I have set everything to ultra except for post-processing. Set it to low. Make sure FSR 2 Upscaler is enabled using its quality preset. You can see Optiscaler mod menu popped up. This means FSR Bridge mod work. Select OptiFG as the frame generation type. Disable for the time being. Upscaler selected DLSS, very important. Version latest. Enable auto exposure setting from here. Click on Save and close. Start the game. You can see the overlay in the bottom left corner. Model preset selected is K. Latest version of the Upscaler is being used. Base resolution 720p upscale to Full HD and auto exposure setting is on. So everything worked properly. We are in. During the gameplay, the DLSS debug overlay is all blacked out. Can't read any detail. No big deal. It's not required anymore. Okay, FPS is close to 90. Image quality is looking sharp. DLSS 4 upscaler for you. No texture shimmering is produced around the vegetation. FSR 2 upscaler produces it in this game. Not observing any graphical artifacts. I'll just enable frame generation now. Open Optiscaler menu. Check FG active setting. Check FG hotfix setting. Set the limit value to 1. Don't enable FG extended setting. Enable FG allow async setting. Check the debug overlay. No HUD elements are visible in the bottom middle image except for DLSS Debug overlay, which is not a part of the game's interface. Displays are working properly for all of the images. The color palette is exactly the same for the bottom middle and bottom right images. Everything should work properly. Just disable the debug overlay. Back to the game. Yeah, I can observe that amount of smoothness. Wow, it's running so smoothly. Camera is flying. FPS increased to around 160. Game's HUD elements are not flickering, so everything worked properly. I'll just whack some zombies.
Roll with the punches, as my granddad used to say.
This game uses Unreal Engine. There will be a few stutters here and there due to the compilation of shaders. The longer you play the game, the smoother it will become. As simple as that. So that's it for the video, guys. I hope you find it useful. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.